There we go. All right, guys. Hey, it's 1 o'clock Eastern time. How's that? Hey, Marsha's in the house. Marsha, happy Tuesday. Is today Tuesday or Thursday? Oh, it's Friday. It's Thursday. It's Friday Eve already, isn't it? So, man, who knew that happened so fast? Ryan Case is in the house. Marlo's here today. Jacqueline, our bestie, Jacqueline's here. Hey, Marlo. We've got Brian Fleming here in Detroit. Brian, what's up, brother? We've got Janny. Janny's a fellow Michiganer. Are you a Michiganer? Michiganer. Michigander. What are you? Okay. All right, guys, let's go ahead and I want to be prompt for everybody. I'm letting people in. Hey, Lori's here. We got a bunch of MEP folks here today. How cool is that? So, um, hey, Paula, how are you? Guys, do me a favor. Drop your LinkedIn in the chat box if you would be so kind. Great opportunity to connect with everybody here. All right, I'm letting a couple more people in. All right, John. Man, it's like an MEP party here today, Wesleyne. What do you think of that?
I know. It's exciting. It's exciting.
All right, guys. Hey, Katie's in the house. I didn't see Katie. Where is Katie? There's Lori. Lori's from Erie. We got Leanne here. John from Nebraska. All right, guys, let's get the party started. We're going to go to slideshow. And so let's dive right in. So I'll be letting folks in as we go along. I hit the record button and let's get things started. We'll get the party rolling. So guys, my name's Kurt Anderson. Thank you for joining us today. Absolute honor, privilege to be here. See, Sherry just joined us. Scott's here today, guys. Happy Friday Eve. Happy Thursday. So little change of plans here. So I've originally, hey, Sam Issue just joined us. Hey, we've got Wesleyne Whittaker is joining us. We've got, got more people popping in. Hey, Ashley's here, Wesleyne. Okay. All right, guys, I'll keep letting people in. Let's go ahead and get started. My name's Kurt Anderson, and we've got a great, fun jam session. My dear friend, my co-host, any of you guys that have been on our live show, my co-host and partner in crime, Damon, had a conflict today. So we got a great backup. Great plan B. Man came on deck. So, hey, Wesleyne, let's get things started. We're talking here today about sales strategies for LinkedIn. We're not going to spend a ton of time on the profile, but I do want to give a little intro here to our wonderful panelists, our guest speakers today. And this is really textbook. I'm going to tee up an intro for my man. I almost get choked up when I introduce Wesleyne. So my admiration, my respect for Wesleyne just goes off the charts. If you want to know more about Wesleyne, please connect with her on LinkedIn. She dropped her LinkedIn in the chat box. She builds sales strategies that grow revenue with actionable processes that get real results. Wesleyne, happy Thursday. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, I am honored and always great to share the stage with you, of course. And guys, if you're new to LinkedIn, you're just kind of like getting things going, you're like, this is really textbook. Look what Wesleyne has done. She puts her very clear and concise. Like if you're looking for somebody in HR, maybe operational excellence, you know what? Maybe move on. But if you need somebody look at this, the sales visionary that boosts revenue and profits with unmatched sales strategies. Wesleyne, you are a recovering chemist. Can you just give a little intro to yourself and let folks know who is Wesleyne?
Yes, I am a recovering chemist. I started my career in the petrochemical industry doing failure analysis for plastics, and I moved into sales and sales leadership. And I tell everyone I finally figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up, when I got into sales. And so now I work with manufacturers and technical companies to really help eliminate and eradicate random acts of selling by giving strategy and process.
Well, I love it. And passionate rainmaker and team transformer. Let's keep it going. Man, Damon couldn't make it today. We got young Damon in the house. Eddie Saunders Jr. Happy Thursday, dude. How are you, man?
It is well with my soul. It's a great day to have a great day, and I'm just following accordingly, man.
Well, hey, once again, guys, as you're building out your LinkedIn profile, if it's new, take a look at what Wesleyne's done. Take a look at what Eddie's done. Nice professional banner, really clear and concise on who they are, what they do. You look at their headline, Fractional Demand Gen Leader, top social media marketing voice. That's what we're going to be diving into. Eddie, you're a new entrepreneur. Can you tell folks about your company, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a recovering sales guy. Oops, sorry. No, I was giving you a hard time. No, long time sales guy, but absolutely passionate about marketing. And I found a real gap within the industrial space of really lots of brands that are trying to make some awesome noise, but don't necessarily know how to. So I'm just leveraging my 14 years of experience to help them do that, but make it fun and make it worthwhile and help them make noise worth listening to while also having the time of my life doing it.
Well, Eddie, thank you, dude. I know you're super busy with your business and all the kids that you have. And so I know this is an honor and privilege to share the stage with you, my friend. And man, we're going to be in person next week. So we're going to talk about that through the program. Guys, again, my name's Kurt Anderson. Honor and privilege to meet you. I'm an e-commerce evangelist for manufacturers. Most important job on the planet is I am a girl dad. Now that's going to come back up in the program. So please, Marsha, we might have a couple of pop quiz questions so that, I'm giving you guys a little hint there. That girl dad might be in the pop quiz, just so to give you guys a little hint. Wrote a book. It's my mom's favorite book, by the way. Hey, guys, mom's on the way home from hospital. Surgery went well. So I'm just putting that out there today. So thankful for mom. And so my mom's favorite book is called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. Show of hands. How many people out there love making cold calls? Ryan, Case, Marlo, how you guys raise your hands? Nobody loves cold calls, right? I mean, you've got to be a little demented to be doing cold calls, right? Eddie Saunders Jr. So, guys, for the program today, we are here to help you. I don't know if we actually found the easy button, but man, we want to make your life so much easier with making connections on LinkedIn. Let's dive in. Wesleyne, yesterday you had a little fun program. We're going to talk about LinkedIn Live down the program. But boy, this headline really caught my attention. The oxygen mask strategy, essential self-care sales success. Can you please talk about what you were jamming about yesterday?
What I was talking about is as salespeople, as customer facing people, as entrepreneurs, we have hard jobs. It is not easy to get a lot of rejection. It is not easy to always be striving for the next dollar, the next sale. And in order for us to keep ourselves at equilibrium, we have to focus on ourselves. And so, what I like to say is put your oxygen mask on first. So, what I talked about were self care things like spending time with yourself, really planning your day out, doing calendar audits. So, really tactical soft skill things that we don't often talk about.
Well, fantastic. And guys, hey, I just let a few more friends in the program. If you're just joining us or if you haven't done it yet, boy, we encourage you, we invite you, we welcome you. Drop your LinkedIn in the chat box. Great opportunity. If you're trying to build up your LinkedIn connection network here, great. If we were in person, we'd be handing out business cards. Great opportunity to connect with folks. Eddie, this is a great post that you put out. Little tagline here. I think Sam Mishu is in the house today. Sam, thanks for Samuel. Thank you for joining us today. This is a little post from Windbound. Our dear friend Greg Mishu did an incredible, wonderful research project for manufacturers. Really powerful. Man, go to Windbound, check out their website, and you guys or connect with Samuel. Samuel, make sure you drop your LinkedIn in the chat. You'll get some great information. It was really, I'm sorry to say the word, it was almost alarming of how manufacturers are not being active on social. Eddie, being active on social media provides numerous benefits for your brand. Curious minds want to know a little bit more, Eddie Saunders. Could you please share with folks, what do you mean by that comment there?
If we're speaking for ourselves, you have to think about the opportunities that exist in this world. And if you think about your reverse engineering where it is that I need to be, there's a lot easier path to get there. And that's by turning up the volume on who you are, what you're passionate about, and what you know the most about. And what's a great platform to be able to share all of those things almost simultaneously on social media. And I can personally attest that I've leveraged on a variety of circumstances, and it's created a lot of opportunities and put me in the place to really capitalize and take advantage of a lot of these opportunities specifically because I was active on socials. Now, it's not the secret sauce. It doesn't solve all the problems, but it most definitely provides an aura for you specifically that can quite literally increase your value and your worth in a lot of scenarios.
All right. Well said, my friend. All right, and we're going to show a bunch of examples. Eddie's all over the place. Wesleyne, one of my favorite lines of yours of all time is right here. When you try to be everything to everyone, what happens?
You become nothing to no one. It's the paradigm of trying to serve everyone, meeting everyone's needs, speaking everyone's language, and solving everyone's problems. Then people really don't know who you are, how you serve them, and what you do well. So your key is to really focus on who is the ideal client profile that I want to serve on this platform, because the person that you're serving or speaking to on LinkedIn may be different than the person that you're speaking to on Instagram. It may be slightly different than a person that you're speaking to in person, but be very, very laser focused on who that person is, what their problems, what their pains are, and how you solve those specific problems and challenges.
Well, and again, guys, I encourage you, welcome you, invite you, connect with Wesleyne on LinkedIn, man. You're going to thank me later because she is a fierce, fierce communicator, just advocate for manufacturers and folks in sales to win the day. Here's a post that you put out, Wesleyne. Random activities get random results. Doing too many things fails. Focus on the strategy needed to win. Why do small businesses fail? Why is generating consistent revenue so tough for small business? Please enlighten folks on what's going on in this post.
So there's so many people out here and they're just selling this or selling that or telling you to do this, buy this course, buy that course, buy this batch of leads. And there's actually no strategy aligned to it. And when you don't have strategy, you don't have a way of actually figuring out if what you're doing is working. So maybe you go to 10 trade shows, but are those 10 trade shows paying for themselves? Are they giving you a return on their investment? You're posting on LinkedIn every day, but are you getting business? Are you getting referral partners? So we have to start with strategy as our umbrella. And after we have our strategy, then we figure out what our key performance indicators are that we want to track to measure. And then we start figuring out the tactical things. So just posting on LinkedIn is not a strategy. It is a tactical part of your overarching sales and marketing strategy that you want to execute to get to your goals.
Excellent. Thank you. And all right, I'm going to take it one step further here. You've got, again, it's just amazing. You put out posts where either you're posting videos, these little snippets of yourself, little quotes, little captions, motivation, inspiration. Over here on the left, customers don't want a one-sided conversation. What's the first questions you guys are going to ask? Over here on the right, the one thing I tell sales leaders and business owners is this: your business cannot grow beyond your level of personal development. Great. Again, like, you're out there just fiercely helping folks. Talk a little bit more about these two posts right here.
So my goal when I post is to be my authentic self. And anyone who's ever had a conversation with me knows that I have an equal amount of sugar and spice. And so that sugar is I have a lot of empathy and I understand, but the spice is I am very direct. And so I'm going to tell you what is not working for you and how to get to where you need to go. And one of the things that's really important when I post on LinkedIn, because what you see on the screen is what people see when they scroll. I want to say something captivating enough that the person I'm speaking to wants to stop and read. Right. And so when they see that first line, when they see that picture, when they see that video, they're like, okay, this is interesting. I want to read more. So it's always important to post about the problems your actual customers are having. And I'll say that over and over and over. Yes, it's great to talk about why you're amazing and what your business has that sets you apart, but people really don't care about you. They care about themselves and they want to achieve their goals and they want to get better in whatever they want to do.
So other than my mom, just nobody really cares. Wesleyne, is that what you're trying to tell me? Nobody,
That is
just
100.
nobody really cares, do they? So Eddie, unless they're out there, they really have a problem and that problem needs to be solved. Again, you put out great posts, great content. And again, for that, that scroll stopper, I don't have if I say percentages, but it's always when there's a picture, when there's a video, when there's an activity going on, as opposed to just content. Eddie, talk about this post right here for everybody, please.
Another way that I could just continue to put myself in greater opportunities and reduce the amount of objections that we receive and to reduce any friction is by just continuously putting myself out there. And this is no example or exception to that, I should say, because really love being on podcasts and collaborating with other content creators within the industry, because we all have our own separate pools and networks. And it's wonderful to be able to have access through all of that directly through one individual. And so I love little graphics like this because it's easy to scale that content through the the video that's originally captured. And it's a more of an exposure game in sales. As we all know, it's a numbers game. And I want to make sure that if you're considering doing a transactional, having a transactional relationship with me, that I put myself in the best position possible for you to be as comfortable as possible with who I am. So when we enter into that conversation and we start asking the hard questions, you already have a good feel and taste of who Eddie is, because you've seen me on a variety of different, shows, videos, you've seen a variety of different graphics, and you feel as if you know me before the conversation has even started. And I think we can all agree that's a wonderful advantage when it comes to building your network and elevating new conversations for yourself and for others.
Well said, my friend. And it's all about one thing only, right? Building trust. It's all about building trust. As Wesleyne said, being your authentic self. I tell you, one of the great ways of just being a fierce networker is right here. How about playing the matchmaker? Man, who loves, if anybody's in our network, Wesleyne, they know we love playing matchmaking. Hey, Wesleyne, you and I have an anniversary coming up. How did you and I happen to connect? He didn't make it here today. He was on the list and he was going to try to make it. I don't know if he's going to pop in, but I'm going to give a shout out to our dear friend Dan Bigger. Man, if you guys aren't connected with Dan Bigger, I strongly encourage you. He's one of the fiercest networkers, connectors that I've ever met. He sent me a note 3 years ago and said, "Hey, Kurt, Wesleyne, you guys need to connect." Wesleyne and I, here, Marshall, here comes that pop quiz. I sent a note to Wesleyne. She says, "Girl, Dad, I love it. I'm a boy mom." We got on a call, man. We were just, Wesleyne, you had me at hello. We fell madly head over heels for each other. On the next comment, you say this: "I'd love to continue our conversation. Please find some time here. We have a lot to talk about. Please plan for an hour." I'm like, I don't know if an hour is enough for the two of us. We love to chat. I get on a call. Check this out. For any of our MEP friends, boy, hey, how about raise a hand for any of our MEPs out there, guys? Marlo, you're out there. I think I saw Lori Ryan is out there. Boys, we have a bunch of MEPs who are sponsoring our program today. So I want to give a shout out to the University of Nebraska MEP, NWIRC, Ryan at Insight, and we've got the Alaska MEP. And we big shout out to our friends at the MEP Network. Wesleyne, you have this note. "I enjoyed chatting too. Thanks so much for the information about the MEP." Guys, that's a manufacturing extension partnerships. If you are a manufacturer, I strongly encourage you, welcome you, invite you, connect with your local MEP. Wesleyne, you and I had an honor of being at the annual conference of the MEP, but I was sitting out in the crowd. What were you doing at the national annual MEP conference?
I gave the keynote speech.
You gave the keynote speech. Guys, there was like 400 or 500 people in the room. Janny, you were there. A bunch of our MEP friends were there. This was just a wonderful, what a energetic, one incredible experience. We were in Buffalo, New York at the annual MEP conference, and you gave a keynote speech that morning. I sat, Uncle Kurt was in the front row. I was like, dude, I was like literally in tears, just cheering you on. Talk about like how you and I came together, like walk through this journey of how do you go from like you and I be just on a cold coffee on a coffee chat, and now next thing you know, you're giving the keynote speech at the MEP conference. How on earth does that happen?
It really is all about the power of LinkedIn. So when we think about LinkedIn, I think about it as a business network, and everybody's like self-serving, right? Because everybody cares about themselves. So they're like, I need customers. But LinkedIn is really a place where we can build relationships. So I reached out to Dan actually on LinkedIn, said, "Hey, you'll be a great person for my podcast." We did an interview, hit it off, and he made introductions to multiple people. And so Kurt and I started chatting, and he opened my eyes. So back in 2021, I didn't even know what the MEP was. And 2 years later, I was doing a keynote speech. So the power of using LinkedIn to really build connections. And how did I even get on, be asked to be a keynote speaker? One of the MEPs I worked with, literally, we sent them my LinkedIn profile. And they saw my videos and they saw me talking and they were like, "Oh, you'll be great." And that was it. It was just like that because I put myself out there. People understand my voice. They see that I'm authentic. And so when you think about using your LinkedIn profile as your personal brand, that's what it is. So whether you're within an organization or you're an entrepreneur, that is the way that you can highlight who you are, how you serve them, and what you bring to the market.
Yeah, that's fantastic. As a matter of fact, Jacqueline, if Jacqueline's out there from IMEC, who's our dear friend at the Illinois MEP. And so it was just a great collaboration to make this happen. And again, for our manufacturing friends out there, you might be like, hey, wait a minute, you guys. Okay, that's cool. You're in marketing or you're consultants. I'm selling widgets. It's not about the widgets. It's about the human connection. It's about the relationships. So I'm going to encourage you, invite you. It's not about, what the actual, what you're selling. It's how you do it and how you make these connections. Again, here we are, Wesleyne. I just had a great time, all met all sorts of wonderful people at the conference. Next thing I want to slide into, guys, here's a tagline that we love to use for our manufacturers, for all of our clients. How do you out teach the competition? How do you out teach a competition? So instead of like, oh man, typically, I don't know, for me, 100 years ago, my e-commerce business, I was like, man, I had to spend like a fortune on Google ads and all sorts of like banner ads and all. It was just crazy. I was just like throwing money out the window. My accountant was like, what are you doing? As Eddie is preaching here, what Wesleyne is talking about is like, how can we come in as just fierce educators? And again, whether you're selling a product, whether you're selling a service, regardless of what you're doing, it's about that human connection. Wesleyne, let's keep this party rolling. You've got two posts right here on the left. I want to point out to everybody, you have a sales blueprint you are giving out for free. My goodness gracious. How are you practicing what you preach? Talk about how do you help out teach the competition for your clients?
One of our company values is serve before you sell. So I'm really, really big on sharing with others how they can, the things that they're doing well and the things that they're not doing so well, and how either I can come alongside them to help them. And a lot of times I have this huge referral network. I don't do everything and I don't want to do everything. And so by really just sitting with business owners and saying, these are the places that you have gaps, and this is what we can do to move you forward, it helps them and it also helps me, because sometimes they're like, well, actually, I think what we need is this, or I know someone else who needs you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I love the post on the left. Can you just hit at real quick? KISS, man. What is keep it simple? What's going on the right post here?
Don't complicate things. So even again, we're talking about how to post, and that's the biggest battle is, what do I post? What do I talk about? One person, you should be talking to one singular person. So think about who that person is. You should have their name in your head, and they should have one problem that you're talking about and one solution that you can offer to help them. Just think about the very simplicity of one thing at a time. So if you say, okay, here are all of the things that let's say you're a parts manufacturer, and you're like, these are all of the things that happen when you shoot a part that you're messing up. It's too much information for one person to understand. So maybe you start with just the basics of making sure they clean their mold every single time, like just that basic thing. Most people may not know that, right? So you start very simple. And again, kind of back to what you were saying, Kurt, it's about the educational piece. People show up and they're like, okay, I want to learn more. I want to go further. I want to move to the next level.
Yeah, excellent. I love it. Eddie, you've got a great post hit you put out here talking about the industrial marketing ABCs, my friend. You're out there educating, trying to help manufacturers be better their business, grow their sales. What's going on this post, my friend?
Well, in the essence of what you had just said and what we're kind of really preaching here, I couldn't agree more with everything that's being said on educating. And it's to me, it's the intention of giving individuals something without the expectation of really anything in return. And anything that does happen organically, which is obviously the plan and the strategy, because as Wesleyne said, this is just a tactic. And a lot of people treat it as the strategy, but we're playing chess, not checkers. And so this is simply just a move in that specific direction. Do I love making video content? Of course I do. Is it super easy? Of course it is. So to me, this is just a low hanging fruit to accomplish all the things that not only I've said earlier, but also what I set out to do, and educating people in the form of something fun, because we all know the ABCs. It's just a real plug and play way for me to humanize it, simplify it, and make it super digestible and fun for those who are involved.
Well, I humanize it, right? And that's exactly what we try to do. Right here, we have our jam sessions. We try to practice what we preach. Wesley and I do a bunch of training with the MEPs. We do cohorts. So it's just an opportunity and again, if you're selling a widget, like Wesley just said, break it down, make it super simple. Wesley, I love this. I want to talk about this for a second. In every quality customer interaction, you should be speaking 20% or less. of the time. Talk a little bit about that from a sales standpoint. And then how about boy, Wesleyne, you've got me fired up. I'm going to start posting. Talk about like on that sales strategy and from a posting strategy, how we should be listening versus telling.
Yeah, so we're talking a lot about posting, but one of the most important things that you can do if you're scared to post is support your customers. So you know who your customers are. Some of them may be active on LinkedIn, some of them may not be as active on LinkedIn, but go check them out, see what they're doing. And so if you use that 80/20, even on social media, like I post maybe once a week or once every couple of days, but I'm on the platform consistently and I'm listening to what my customers are saying by supporting their posts, by really showing up for them. And when you think about, and I want to kind of back up something that Eddie said, he says he loves doing videos. I love to talk too. I can talk all day, every day, and that's what I love to do. So I like doing videos too. But some people don't like doing videos. Don't force yourself to do a video. Maybe you're like, I can write. So write. Maybe you're like, I can record a video, but I don't know what to write. Just post a video with 2 lines of text. Like stay in the place that you're comfortable and start there and then branch off. Don't push yourself too much out of your comfort zone because you get into this analysis paralysis where it's like, I don't know what to say on a video. I don't know what to write. Like really stay in your place of comfort and then you'll branch off. Because I look at my videos from like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, what were you doing? Like, were you looking at the camera, the virtual background? I didn't even understand what was happening there. It was a hot mess. But now I can just stand in front of the camera, record something one take, and I'm done. So realize that, yes, this is going to stretch you a little bit and it's going to push you out of your comfort zone, but start where you're comfortable.
Wesleyne, you are never a hot mess, my friend. So, all
I
right,
know.
Eddie, let's keep this conversation rolling. A great way to educate yourself, a great way to get street cred, boy, speak in public. Wesleyne was just talking about how she was a keynote speaker at the MEP conference. Man, I was such a proud uncle. Dude, the first time that you and I met in person, I had the honor and privilege. I sat in the front row. I watched you on a panel. You absolutely crushed it. You and I are going to be together next week at the Industrial Marketing Summit. Talk about your path of getting on, being a public speaker, and what has it done for you, and how building that credibility and building trust with folks.
It's honestly all a part of the strategy. And this was just another tactic that, as I said earlier, just came organically. I knew that if I led with good intention, was genuinely trying to educate the audience, have a little bit of fun, entertain them, engage. I knew that if I did all those things, that that really is the formula to create immense and way more opportunities for myself. And this is just, again, another example of that. And it's a real humbling thing, especially when you're first starting off and you're putting yourself out there. And Wesleyne, you could attest to this as well. People starting to ask you to speak, and you're like, hold on, you want to hear me? You want me to talk? And it's a beautiful feeling, right? And it's super empowering, but there's lots of responsibility. And Wesleyne also made a good point that it's very challenging, and it was outside of my comfort zone, not a ton, but still so. But there's great opportunity on the other side of that. And there's great liberation and great excitement that comes from that. And then also being associated with all the amazing human beings who are obviously like minded and just as passionate as you. Great things come from that. And this is another wonderful example of it.
Yeah, and again, for our manufacturing friends out there, you're manufacturing circuit boards, wire harness assemblies, whatever the widget is, this is an opportunity for you to kind of be in your industry on LinkedIn or, all the examples that Wesleyne just gave. How do you get your voice and be that thought leader in your little corner of the world, right? You're not necessarily speaking to thousands and thousands of people. Maybe it's a room of 10 people. Maybe it's just, online or whatever it might look like. Eddie, let's talk about here for our folks and friends and family on the line today that go to trade shows. What's a great way, like you just show up to the trade show and you hope magic happens. You're doing a great job pre-trade show. Talk a little bit about what's going on here, or give some advice for folks on how can they really maximize their trade show opportunities.
Trade shows are just collections of relevant human beings. And if you know that's what's going on there, why would you not take effort to let individuals know you're going to be there so that you could strategically create more opportunity? You hear me say opportunity a lot, and I'm taking as many avenues to secure as much of that as possible. And again, if we know that these trade shows, these organizations, these events, if we're going to have loads of relevant individuals there that are the target audience for you and yourself, well, why would you not make that specific effort? Because these pre show efforts are are just another example of you raising your hand and saying, hey, not only am I a relevant expert, if you will, but you're continuing to build your own personal brand, solidify your story, and solidify your relevance so that, like Wesleyne has even experienced, that she has to answer way less questions because people already know who she is because of what they've seen. So when they want to secure somebody for work, they say, oh, we've already seen you. You look great. You've clearly been here before. Let's go.
Yeah. And
Can
hey,
I
like,
back up? I
please,
just want to
please,
back
Wesley.
Eddie up. One of the things that really bothers me a lot about salespeople, I'll just say salespeople, is when they go to trade shows and they say, "Oh, that was a bad show. I didn't meet anyone there. Oh, there was not. I didn't get any value from that." Right? And it's because you didn't put anything into it. So you never just show up at a trade show and sit behind your booth and expect for people to come to you. You have to do the work before, right?
Yes.
So putting yourself out there, posting that I'm going to be here. Who else is going to be there? See
Yes.
who's following the hashtag, who's following that trade show, setting up meetings while you're there, whether they're people in the trade show or customers you have in the area. Like, make it worth your time, and also set a goal. Say, I'm going to this show and I want to have 5 meetings set up when I leave. I want to have 3 meetings set up when I leave. Give yourself some type of goals, so you are like, I was successful. I spent 3 days in this place and I was successful because I hit my goals. And so if you go to a trade show and it's not a good show, it should be because I put all these things in place and my ideal client wasn't there. That is the only reason the show should be bad. If your ideal client is there and you leave the show and you say it was a bad show, it's your fault. It's no one's fault but your own. So I just need to give that little plug.
Okay. We're gonna take a moment of silence right there, and we're just gonna kind of savor the sugar and spice that was just laid out on the table, guys. That was pure gold right there. Eddie, man, like, are you? I'm so fired up for next week because I just got the marching orders. I got the mandate that if I come back and say the Industrial Marketing Summit was not a success, it's all on this guy, right? That Wesleyne, drop the mic. Thank you
It's
for that.
on
I
you.
love that advice. That was phenomenal. All right, guys. Man, put any questions, comments in the chat box. Again, if you haven't done it yet, put your LinkedIn profile, connect with Eddie, connect with Wesleyne. I would love to connect with you. Our dear friend Samuel Mishu on the program. Man, I worship his father. His dad, Greg Mishu, is going to be at the Industrial Marketing Summit next week. He's one of the sponsors. He taught me the line, and I know it's probably not new for a lot of you. Know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. And that's exactly what Eddie and Wesleyne are talking about. Talk about know, like, and trust, Wesleyne. At the holiday season, my family, my wife and I received this wonderful, amazing, beautiful Christmas card from my dear friend. You put this post out on LinkedIn. Are you supposed to put your kids out on LinkedIn? What's going on here?
People like to know that you're human. And I always say, go with your level of comfort. Some people don't really want to put personal stuff on there, and that's okay. But what you have to realize is people buy from people. So when people see that, hey, I'm a mom out here with my kids and we are just out here doing normal life just like you are, it humanizes me a bit, right? And it allows people to connect with you because they're like, oh, I have kids too. Oh, you would understand the same struggles I have. Oh, they're such cute kids. Let me go see what else she's talking about. And so you don't have to do it often. I don't post my kids every week or even every month, but it's the holiday time. Or if they say something that inspires me and I'm like, oh, let me post about this because they are my ultimate why. And so I want people to know a part of my core values are me being a mom, my love for my kids, and I do what I do every day so they can see me showing up as my best self.
Well, I absolutely love it. Those two handsome men, and you keep showing them off as much as possible. Eddie, dude, you put out a post the other day. Your son drilled like a 3-point shot. It was just so impressive. But this post on the right, they won't remember your promotion. They won't remember the sale you closed. They won't remember the project you led. They won't remember the new title. They will remember the games you played, the jokes you made, the love you gave, the time you spent. My goodness gracious, dude, dad of the year. You're like getting me choked up on that post. Like, how on earth? What are you doing posting about your kids on LinkedIn? What's going on here?
Well, I know sometimes, like, I was previously hesitant because I have a low key obsession with mob and mafia documentaries, and so I'm like, oh no, family under wraps. No, but that being said, I'm no stranger to being vocal about the things that I'm passionate about. And like marketing, that is a huge thing. The industrial sector, that's a huge thing for me. My family, it's no exception to that specific rule. And B2B is H to H. It's human to human. We talk about it so many times throughout this entire episode, and it's not going to change. And I also, the post on the right, I've had multiple people send that to me. And one specific individual said that he emails that to himself once a week to remind himself that he needs to spend
Mm.
more quality time with his
That's
children.
good.
And that was the essence. I'm not selling you anything. The core of that is just a reminder that there are things that are more important than what we do from a transactional level. And yeah, it's humanizing and it's all cool and it's cute, but that was really the intention, to remind individuals that our kids are important and they do matter and they fuel us a lot and they drive us a lot more than we give them credit for.
You know, I absolutely go ahead, Wesleyne, please.
And one of the things that you said, Eddie, like I get, all kind of inquiries for different things, but the messages that really impact me the most, and it's because I show up to serve, are the ones where I get, like, I've had just, grown men, older men send me messages after I posted something and say something personal, right? Like, your post brought tears to my eyes.
Mhm.
Your post was what I needed to get through this day.
Mhm.
Your post really inspired me to not quit my job. Your post inspired me to keep going, keep moving. Like, those are the things, like, that is the impact of your words. And whether you're talking about something that's skills based, like, this is what I do to do XYZ, like, sometimes that's what people need to get them going through the day, to get them to not give up on a project they've been working on for 6 months. So realize whether people like or comment. When you see that little impression number, if it's more than one, that means there's more than one person in the world that saw your post and that was impacted by what you had to say.
Well, absolutely love it. All right, let's go back here. Wesleyne, you put out all sorts of videos online, literally several days a week. I don't know how you do it. It's absolutely phenomenal. I love and learn something. You're my accountability coach, my mentor. Your sales organization might be one step away from failing. If you don't have a sales strategy that produces results, I want to jump into this next one here. After listening to over 1,000 sales calls, I realized the reason why your sales team's discovery calls don't work. Talk about what's the process behind you coming up with these videos? Where are they coming from? What inspires you? Let's go there.
So a lot of my videos, and different people operate in different fashions, but a lot of these videos come from when I'm coaching or training or doing things. I'm doing stuff I'm already doing. And so I just get my video editor. I'm like, hey, go chop up the pieces that are good. And then I reverse engineer, and that's how I write my content. But what I choose to post is when I get one question more than two times, I'm like, there are more people that need to hear this. And so I use actually what I was telling you is voice of the customer. Your voice of your customer is really, really important. If somebody's asking you a question over and over, if you're getting a website inquiry, if you're getting a lot of phone calls, if you're getting a lot of people rejecting your material, write about the thing. How can they prevent what you're trying to get them to prevent? How can you help them solve that issue? How can you help them solve that challenge? Like right now, there's this very famous sales training company that I'm hearing a lot of manufacturers are using. And I'm like, why are you guys using that? I'm not going to call them out by name, but I'm going to poke holes into why that sales training company isn't effective in manufacturing, because it's too cookie cutter, right? And so I'm hearing that. So that's telling me that's something that people need to be educated on. So I use what my customers ask, what my prospects say, and that's how I come up with my content.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Eddie, here's another thing. Another great way for engagement is putting out a poll. You did this, you put this out, talking about like what's everybody looking for, then you spice it up a little bit. Talk about what inspired you to do this and what's a great why was this such great engagement from your perspective?
It's rooted in a handful of things, and one of them was slight curiosity, but it was more an educated guess that based
Mhm.
off all the feedback over the last 14 years of my career, I've noticed that a lot of people want to make more content, and really that content development is a huge gap. And then I said, what better way to be able to figure out this is a fallacy or if this is real or how solid this really is than asking the industrial marketing community. And so with that, got a decent amount of votes and enough to where it came to be pretty, conclusive that 67% of them had not only a problem, but the problem that I had diagnosed originally in my mind. And so this not only validates that what I'm doing is in the correct path, but if I want to be super strategic, what I get to do is I get to go look at every single individual who voted content development. And now a list of individuals that I get to interact and engage with that already know me because they engage with my posts. They've already came to the conclusion that their gap is content development. I happen to fill that gap. So the conversation is warm before it even starts.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely love it. All right, guys, let's keep the party rolling. Let's slide here. Let's take those, during COVID, this whole virtual thing was wonderful, but how do we get these relationships in person? Wesleyne, I finally had the honor and privilege meeting you. Eddie, I've met you in person. Marsha's on a call. Jacqueline's on a call. Lori, my friend at NWIRC. Ryan Case is here today. A bunch of my friends that I've had the honor and privilege of meeting in person. Totally different story. Maybe didn't appreciate that pre-COVID as much as we do post-COVID. Wesleyne, how do you take this relationship? I love this post, by the way. I'm so captivated by the word excellence. Excellence means 1% better every single day. But just talk about how I'm going to start diving into like the live getting on site. What's going on here, and why is that so important to get these relationships offline on in person?
So this is actually a sales training that I did for a client, and one of the things that I do is whenever I have a live event, I call them my own paparazzi, but I hire a local photographer to come take pictures of my events, and so I have lots of pictures of live in action things, right? And what I do is I want to connect with whatever I'm doing in person online. And so I call it the integration of everything we're doing. So again, our strategy, what is our overarching strategy? My strategy is to get more in-person speaking engagements. I want people to see me in person in action, doing the things that I am telling them that I can do. And what we have to realize that seeing is believing. Sometimes people don't have that great of imagination. So if we can show them us in action, it helps us build that social credibility that we're trying to get.
Yeah, I love that point. Eddie, dude, you are all over the place. Now, again, for our manufacturing friends out there or folks at the MEP, great opportunity. As a matter of fact, my friend Marsha in Chicago is here. Wesleyne, you remember Marsha from Louvers? I had the honor and privilege. I got to meet Marsha this year. That was a highlight for me back in November. I popped in to visit them in Chicago. Eddie, you're all over the place doing live events, shaking hands, doing interviews. What's it done for you, for your credibility, your business? Talk about like being online or being in person at these events.
It absolutely changes the game being there in front of these individuals and on a mass level and on a scaled level. It's really, I've said opportunity so many times, and I'm going to continue to say it. It's created legitimately and objectively more opportunity for me because of the individuals who I've been able to connect with. Now, my LinkedIn and the social media is just a vehicle to that. But as we all know, there's really just something about those in-person meetups. And I'm glad that we finally got over, the COVID hump to where we could really start maximizing that. And since then, it's just really a huge important factor for me and a huge key component to my success, being able to get out there and meet with these individuals, shake the hands, have that camaraderie, because it does create a whole new element and a level of understanding of who I am as a person. And it just adds more perspective and more value to the conversation. And it puts another token in that network channel, if you will.
Plus, as humble as you are, you're just so good at it, and that's why you're in such high demand. And so I tell you, you are truly, this is a gift of yours. I absolutely love it. Again, for our friends at the MEP Network, here's a few screenshots from the past couple years at the MEP annual conference. There's our dear friend, Carol Thomas. She was the director of the MEP Network. So again, like getting out in person, and what I love about these pictures, everybody's like doubled over laughing. We're having a great time, having fun. Life is stressful enough. Eddie, you're doing the exact same thing. So it's just getting out there and just building those relationships. Wesleyne, I'm going to slide into LinkedIn Live. Okay, you did a live yesterday. You've been on our show multiple times. Eddie, you've been a victim. I won't use the word victim. You've been a culprit on our show a couple of times. Absolutely love it. LinkedIn Live, I'm telling you firsthand, if there's anybody out there that's looking for one of the most potent, powerful connection strategies, I'm telling you, it's this right here. Wesleyne, you've been on multiple times. You're starting to do it yourself. You've had a podcast for years. What is your podcast coming on the live show? What has that done for you, or what are some of the benefits that you've seen?
One of the things that I think is so great is there are people who will not comment or like any of your stuff, but I see them like at an in-person event and they're like, every time I open LinkedIn, I see something with you on it. every time I open it, you're there. And that is the goal. So it's not just posting, it's also going on other people's platforms. It's going live. It's what you want to do is you want to build the recognition. You want to build because people are buying, our buyers are doing 60, 70, 80% of their buying before they ever submit a website inquiry, before they ever place their first order. And that know, like, trust is important. So the more you can provide people, and some people will watch a video on YouTube. Some people will read a post. We have to meet our buyers wherever they are. And so one thing that I'd like that you guys do with your lives is you turn it into a blog post with the whole transcript. So if somebody just wants to read it, they can read it, because people consume information in different ways.
I'll tell you. So we actually, so I'm going to, let me go here for a second. So I'm going to tie in we're going to make a few points, go fast and furious. I know we're coming closer to the top of the hour. Guys, if as a manufacturer, MEP, marketer, whatever your jam is, whatever service you're selling, however you're building trust, I'll tell you this live show strategy is really powerful. What we found is, like, people come on, they can show their products, they can show their services. We've actually gone online with manufacturers where it's almost like a little QVC, where, they're a contract custom manufacturer where they kind of feel left out of this whole e-commerce party, and they're actually showing their products. So showcasing your expertise is a great way to do it. Now, let me go here, Wesleyne. There's an MEP in Alaska. So now, thanks to LinkedIn, thanks to the live show, we actually had the opportunity to go to Alaska. This is how we make a living. And man, why not go to Alaska when you have the opportunity? So here we are. Here, you're in Alaska. I'm with my co-host Damon. We're in Alaska. And this is how it happened. This is exactly how it happened. When COVID 4 years ago, I sent a note, and here's my note right here. Hey, Dr. Alyssa, fantastic profile. You've built an impressive career. MEP centers play a critical role for American manufacturers. Well done. It'd be great to join your LinkedIn network. Wishing you continued success. I never asked for anything other than, hey, could we connect? That was it. She comes back 10 minutes later. Thanks, Kurt, for the connection. I'd like to hear more how you've worked with MEPs. We're creating a webinar series. Wesleyne, do we love to do webinars, or what? Is that our jam? So this was a great, and again, like, what a chance of a lifetime for, like, I live in Lakewood, New York, like, for me to go to Alaska, and that was just such a thrill to go up there. Eddie, you're going all over the place doing your programs. Again, like, just share a little bit, like, what it's done for you, what it's done for you professionally, what it's done for you, whether income, what's this look like? How it's changed the complexion for your business.
It's given me the opportunity to be my own boss and to do the thing that many people are afraid of doing and wish they could. I get to do that at a much earlier age than a lot of individuals have. And it's brought me a variety, if I say it a million times, and I'm not trying to be redundant, but just opportunity. And it's didn't happen overnight, I will say that, but it also didn't happen by accident. And for example, this relationship with MTD CNC, they only have 3 US reporters, and Tony Gunn is one of them, and he's one of the most popular guys in manufacturing. It's hard to fill those specific shoes, but through all the compound branding that I've done over the years to humanize myself and to make myself an entity that is worth talking to, this is just a direct result of doing all of those things consistently, even when it was mundane, even when it was boring. But me being persistent and consistent in my strategy ended up in the creation of opportunity. And everything past that is just me taking it and having the time of my life doing so. So it's really been wonderful, but no accident and not overnight.
Yeah, it's intentional and it takes a lot of work. As a matter of fact, I'm going to back up. Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Brian Fleming. Brian, if you want to give a little wave for everybody, make sure that you drop your LinkedIn in the chat box. Brian does a phenomenal job of helping manufacturers on LinkedIn connections and that type of thing for, like, those manufacturers out there that don't want anything to do with LinkedIn. So, Brian's a great guy to connect with. Brian, thank you for all that you do to help manufacturers, doing great work. All right, guys, we're going to take it home. I know everybody's super busy. For anybody out there, I know MEP centers, I know manufacturers who, I don't care what business, I don't care if you're selling ice cream, right? We need testimonials. And when you're in retail, maybe it's a little easier. You go on Yelp or you get a Facebook page or Instagram and people are ranting and raving about how great you are or great your product. Manufacturers is a little bit harder. I know for the MEPs, that's one of those reportable, how do we get that reportable impact back to NIST? we have found on a live show, hey, Marsha, I don't know if Marsha's still with us. If Marsha's still there here, she might have cut out. I had a picture of Marsha right here on the program. These are a bunch of folks that we've interviewed with the MEP Center themselves or the manufacturer when we completed work that we've done with the MEP. Ryan, you've been on the program. We did a nice little case study with our friend Styco in Buffalo. And when you guys, if you're looking for an opportunity to get testimonials, man, I'm telling you, get them on video, get them on a podcast, get them on a live show. It is just such a powerful way to capture that testimonial. Entrepreneurs, man, are lonely, right? And they don't get an opportunity to brag about how awesome they are. When you can give them a microphone or that showcase to talk about how wonderful they are, boy, they just appreciate it so much. Lastly, guys, I want to talk about SEO for a second. Okay. Wesleyne, I'm going to turn it over to you first. This is a huge point that you love to make of like how powerful SEO is on your LinkedIn or social media strategy. Why is SEO so important for social?
And I would just like to say that I am not a marketer, but I
Yeah.
understand the importance of digital marketing, right? So I talk about SEO, I talk about these things because as a salesperson, I am very focused on marketing that converts. And so I understand the specific pieces. So I talk about SEO, not because I do it. If you need SEO, you need to talk to Kurt. It's not something I do. However, what I talk about is the integration of search and social, right? So again, as your customers are searching for products or services that you have, they're typing in your name, they're typing in your company name, they're doing all of those things. It's so very important to ensure that you're using words, keywords that are important to them. So even in your post, even when I post, I'm ensuring that I'm using words that my customers are feeding to me. I'm looking on Google, I'm doing all of those things. And when you type in my name, my company's name, LinkedIn and Instagram and Twitter, they come up way before my website. Why? Because the social media platforms have much better SEO than we can ever have on our own. And so by keeping your profile updated, when somebody's like, okay, here's Wesleyne's LinkedIn profile, they can see, okay, here's the last post, and they can go back as far as they would like. I get people who've liked my post from 10 months ago. That means they've scrolled through a lot of stuff in order to get there, or it's popped up in search.
Absolutely. So I just want to make a point right here. So we had a guest on, and so we're trying to be more strategic with our keywords on our interviews and on the programs. So we intentionally wanted to use this tag, we were going after this one keyword, digital self-serve solutions for manufacturers. Okay. So the cool thing is we have a guest on a program, they come on. If you go to YouTube and you type in digital self-serve solutions for manufacturers, we're number one and we're number two. If you type in digital self-service for manufacturers, we're coming up number one, number two. And for this particular person that was a guest on the show, like that's one of her keywords. And that's something that she's going after to try to come up on search. So again, as Wesleyne just said, SEO is a great, LinkedIn is a great way for SEO strategies. We're going to close out on this, guys. I know everybody's here super busy, building that amazing community. That's what it comes down to. Wesleyne, take us home. I love this post here that you have. My journey was not easy. Over your shoulder, it says she needed a hero. So that's what she became. And I'll tell you right now, my friend, from the bottom of my heart, you are my hero. Your boys view you as a hero. A lot of us view you as a hero. Talk a little bit, words of wisdom, Wesleyne wisdom, follow you on LinkedIn. What do you want to close us out with?
Yeah. So specifically on this post, when I say my journey wasn't easy, I am a chemist. I moved through the world as a salesperson. I am now an entrepreneur. I'm in the sales training world. There are not a lot of people that look like me. There are not a lot of people that have my same energy and enthusiasm. So sometimes it gets hard. And what I like to do is I like to be authentic, and I like to tell people that, yes, you see the success that I have now. Yes, you may see me showing up and smiling, but behind the scenes, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours of work that it took to get here. So if you're just starting out, know that it might be hard. Know that you may not hit it out the bat every time when you're trying to do something, and that's okay. The goal is being consistent. Keep showing up, keep doing it, keep going. I've consistently been posting on LinkedIn every weekday, I think for about 3 years now. And so I just show up. And in the beginning, nobody was showing up for me, but that's okay. I kept showing up and I kept doing and I kept moving. And I think throughout this time, we've talked a lot about building partnerships and relationships and opportunities. We haven't said that we've closed $1 million sale from LinkedIn, because for us, that's not what our main goal is. Our main goal is to serve, is to help, is to impact people. And we know that the right kind of people are going to come to us. We know that the opportunities that need to come to us will come to that. So if you go on this journey of building out your online presence, your personal brand with, I'm here to impact lives, I'm here to serve people, I'm here to help my customers, my clients get from where they are to where they want to be, though you'll get the return on your investment eventually. Maybe a day, maybe 6 months, maybe in a year, but keep going.
All right. Sugar and spice. We're going to savor that one for a minute, right? Eddie Saunders Jr., brother, can you, here's one last shot of you. You've got the red pants, the red microphone. I cannot wait to see you in person next week. Take us home. Any parting thoughts, words of wisdom, inspiration for our friends in the audience today?
The great Woody Hayes once said that anything easy isn't worth a dang, and I believe that to be very true. But for those who do show up, those who do do the work, and those who reverse engineer with intention and execute with passion, that's a recipe for success. So, in the presence of fear, that means you're doing something correctly, and I advise to run to that with all the passion and with all the good intention in the world, because you'd be really surprised at what stands on the other side of that conversation.
All right, we're gonna savor that for a minute. So, all right, we're gonna wind down. Any questions? I see Brian, you've got a question here. What about LinkedIn articles for SEO? I love the idea of articles. So I probably have 50, 60, 70 articles that I put out on LinkedIn. And as a matter of fact, I wish Marcia was still here. Marcia from Louvers, this is Gospel's Truth. Wesleyne, you might have heard this before. So she, a couple years ago, she's a marketer for Louvers, probably 50, 60 person manufacturer in Chicago. Just got to visit them a couple months ago. And they needed help. She Googled SEO services or solutions in Chicago. And I don't know how on earth, but I came up. So I'm in Lakewood, New York. Like I'm in the middle of nowhere, New York. She did a search for SEO in Illinois or Chicago, and I wish she was here because she would back me up on this. She found me. She came to one of our jam sessions, one of our webinars, just like this. She came through IMEC, the Illinois MEP, became a wonderful client of ours, and Jacqueline can attest to that. And so, yes, those articles, in my humble opinion, are top, are absolutely critical. You just never know when somebody's going to do a search. Brian, you have a phenomenal service. So impressed with what you do, where you're going out like spearing, like you're spearing fish in the barrel, which is great. On the SEO side, it's a little bit more of a passive where we're waiting for somebody to type it. So it's a great way to tackle both. So I don't know if hopefully that helped or if that answered. SEO is absolutely mission critical from a LinkedIn standpoint. Guys, I want to be mindful of everybody's time. I know we're coming to the top of the hour. We took a full 55 minutes here. If you guys have any questions, I'm not going anywhere. I'd love to stick around. If you guys want to take yourself off mute, or if you want to drop a question in the chat box. If you didn't already, drop your LinkedIn in the chat. It'd be a great opportunity. Please connect with Eddie. Please connect with Wesleyne on LinkedIn. They just are so inspiring, just such great people. They just make us all better. Iron sharpens iron. Before we close out, any questions for anybody out there? I want to thank Ashley, Leanne, Sherry, Jacqueline, Athena, Leanne, Sherry, Jacqueline, Athena. I got those guys. Samuel. Who else? Ryan's here. Brian, thank you for joining us today. How about a round of applause for Wesleyne Whittaker? Wesleyne, thank you, my friend, for just crushing it. How about a big round of applause for Eddie Saunders Jr.? Eddie Saunders Jr., what's your dad's name? I don't remember. I'm just kidding. I asked him that question before. So, all right, guys, I'm going to, if you have any questions whatsoever, please connect with these guys on LinkedIn. Drop me a note. Let us know what's going on, how we can help you, how we can serve. And thank you. Thank you, guys. I know you're busy. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you. Have an awesome, awesome rest of your week. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Ryan. Okay. All right. I will send out the Eddie. Thank you, dude. You were amazing as always. Wesleyne, how about for him just filling in on backup?
I know, just he's just slid in, did a
Young
great job.
young Damon.
Overdue.
What's what's that? What's that TV show? Young whatever with the young. You know what I'm talking about? What's that TV show? Young.
Young Sheldon?
Thank you. Young. That. Yeah. Yes. 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 What's the original show? What's the original show?
Oh
Like
my
they
gosh.
like
Big
they're
Bang
saying
Theory.
Big Bang Theory, right? Big Bang Theory, and then Young Sheldon. So like you're young Damon.
I'll take it.
I love it.
Damon is Big Bang Theory, that's for sure. So
Mhm.
that's a good one for Damon. So
I
I'll
love it.
I'll send the replay out to everybody. And if
You
you
want to
guys,
stop the recording?
I will stop the recording. Let me stop sharing. Let me stop the recording. Thank you, Wesleyne.
You're welcome.